Loveless by Alice Oseman, Part 2, Chapter Sex. In the middle of the night, between Tuesday and Wednesday, I woke up to hear someone having sex in the room above ours. It was a sort of rhythmic thumping, like a headboard hitting a wall, and a creaking like the bend of an old bed frame. I sat up, wondering if I was just imagining it, but I wasn't. It was real. People were having sex in the room above us. What else would that sound be? There were only bedrooms up there, so unless someone had decided to do some 3 a.m. DIY, there was only one thing that sound could be. Rooney was fast asleep, curled up on her side, her dark hair splayed around her on the pillow, utterly oblivious. I knew this sort of thing would happen at university. In fact, I knew this sort of thing happened at university. Well, not physically at school, hopefully, but among my school friends and classmates. But hearing it happen in the flesh, not just knowing and imagining, chilled me to the core. Even more than when I saw that person getting fingered at Haiti's party. It was a jarring sort of, oh God, this thing is actually real. It's not just in fanfics and movies, and I'm supposed to be doing that too. College marriage. College families were a new concept to me. At Durham, students in their second and third years paired up to act as a mentor team, or college parents were a small group of incoming freshers who were their college children. I kind of loved it. It made a romance out of something absolutely mundane, which was something that I was incredibly experienced at. Rooney and I, plus 4 other students who I only knew from their Facebook profiles, had arranged to gather with our college parents at Starbucks. This had all been organized in a group chat on Facebook last week, in which I'd been too scared to say anything other than, "Sounds great, I'll be there." But when we got there, only one of our parents was there, Sunil Jha. "So," said Sunil, crossing one leg over the other in his chair, "I'm your college parent." Sunil Jha had a warm smile and kind eyes, and although he was only 2 years older than us, he seemed infinitely more mature. He was also dressed incredibly well. Slim trousers with Converse, a t-shirt tucked in, and a bomber jacket with a subtle grey tartan pattern. "Please don't refer to me as your college mother or father," he continued. "Not just because I'm non-binary, but also because that feels like a scary amount of commitment." This earned some chuckles. On his jacket was several enamel pins, a rainbow flag, a tiny old radio, a pin featuring a boy band logo, one that read he/they, and another pride pin. This one with black, grey, white, and purple stripes. I was sure I'd seen that one before, online somewhere, but I couldn't remember what it meant. In a strange turn of events, your college mother decided that university wasn't for her and dropped out at the end of last term, so we're going to be a single-parent family this year. There were some more chuckles, but then silence. I wondered when Rooney was going to burst out the questions, but it seemed even she was a little intimidated by Sunil's third-year confidence. "Basically," said Sunil, "I'm here if you have literally any questions or worries about anything while you're here. Alternatively, you can just do what you want and forget I ever existed." More laughs. "So, does anyone have anything you want to chat about while we're here?" After a short moment, Rooney was the first to jump in. "I was wondering, how the college marriage thing worked. I heard something about college proposals, but I don't really know what that is." "Oh yeah," I was glad she'd asked that. Sunil laughed. "Oh my god, yes. Okay, so, college marriage." He linked his fingers together. "If you want to form a mentor team with another student, you get college married. One of you proposes to the other, and usually it's a big dramatic proposal. There'll be lots happening this term." Rooney was nodding, fascinated. "What do you mean by big and dramatic?" "Well, let me put it this way. My proposal involved me filling her bedroom with glitter-filled balloons, getting 40 odd people to wait in there and surprise her, and then get down on one knee in front of everyone with a plastic ring in the shape of a cat. Oh God. Does Does everyone get college married? I asked Sunil. Sunil looked at me. He really did have kind eyes. Most people, usually friends, do it, since it's for fun. Sometimes couples do it, though. Friends, couples. Oh no. Now really needed to actually meet people. The discussion broadened out into other aspects of university. Our studies, the best clubs, good times to use the library, the Bailey ball at the end of the term. But I didn't say anything. I just sat there, stressing out about college marriage. It didn't matter if I didn't do that, right? That wasn't what I was here for. Now, I'm going to be escorting you to a club this evening, apparently, said Sunil, as we were all packing to leave. So meet in the reception at 9 p.m., okay? And don't worry about dressing up too much. As he continued, he met my eyes and smiled, warm and gentle. And you don't have to come if you don't want to, alright? It's not mandatory. As Rooney and I walked back to college, I messaged Pip and Jason about college marriage. Their responses were pretty much what I'd expected from them. OMG, Felipe Quintana. OMG, we have that too. Literally cannot wait till someone proposes to me. Or I propose to someone. It's gonna be dramatic AF. I hope someone showers me with confetti, then recites a poem to me on a boat in front of 100 onlookers before releasing a pair of doves into the sky. I think the concept seems kind of archaic. I don't know. Rooney, however, didn't have anything to say about college marriage because she was much too focused on going out to a club. I'm so excited for tonight, she said. Really? She smiled. I'm ready for my uni experience, you know. Yeah, I said, and I meant it. I was ready for my uni experience too. Sure, the idea of going to clubs was horrifying, and I still couldn't imagine this scenario in which I would fall for someone, but I was going to make it happen, and I was going to enjoy it. Me too. So, she said, and looked at me with her dark, big eyes. She was objectively very pretty. Maybe she'd be my endgame. Roommate romance like in a fan fiction. This is a university, for God's sake, anything could happen. Do you like going out? By going out, she meant clubbing, and honestly, I don't know. I've never been to a club. There weren't many nice ones in the rural Kent, and neither Pip nor Jason went to that sort of thing. Clubbing, college marriage, sex, romance. I knew all this stuff was optional, but I wanted to have a normal university experience, just like everyone else. Baby's first club. Oh my God, said Rooney once I'd finished straightening my hair. You look so nice. Ah, thanks, I said awkwardly. I'm terrible at taking compliments. Mom and I had gone clothes shopping a couple of weeks ago, so I would have things to wear for club nights, and I'd picked out a couple of dresses and a pair of chunky shoes. I put one of the dresses on with black tights and honestly didn't think I looked too bad, but next to Rooney, I just felt like a child. She was wearing a velvet red jumpsuit, a deep V at the front and flared legs, with heeled boots and huge hooped earrings. She'd piled half her hair up in a messy bun on top of her head, the rest flowing down behind her back. She looked really fucking cool. I didn't. Then I felt bad because Mom and I had chosen this dress together. I felt a million miles away from Mom and our local shopping center. Did you go out much back in Kent? Rooney asked from where she was sitting on her bed, applying some final touches to her makeup in front of her pedestal mirror. I wanted to lie and say I was super experienced at clubbing, but there was really no use. Rooney was already becoming acutely aware that I was a shy person and much, much worse at socializing than she was. Not really, I said. I don't know. I didn't really think it was my sort of thing. You don't have to go out if you don't want to. She patted highlighter over her cheekbones before shooting me a smile. It's not everyone's scene. No, I said. I mean, I want to at least try it. She smiled some more. Good. Don't worry. I'll look after you. Have you been out clubbing lots then? Oh God, yeah. She laughed, going back to her makeup. Okay. She sounded confident. Was she a party girl like so many other people I knew back home? Was she the sort of person who would go out at clubs all the time and hook up with random people? Have you got Find My Friends on your phone? She asked. Oh, I think so. I got my phone out and sure enough, I did have the app downloaded. The only people I had on there were Pip and Jason. Rooney held out her hand. Let me add myself. Then if we lose each other, you can find me again." She did so, and soon there was a little dot with Rooney's face on the map of Durham. She suggested that we take a selfie together in our bedroom mirror. She knew exactly how to pose, chin hidden behind a raised shoulder, eyes looking up enticingly beneath her lashes. I put one hand on my hip and hoped for the best. If I was fully honest with myself, I just wanted to be Rooney Bach. Sunil met us in the reception area, and it looked like most, if not all, of the John's freshers had shown up to get their first taste of university nightlife. Despite the fact that he told us we didn't have to get dressed up, Sunil was wearing a tight-fit shirt in a bright paisley pattern with skinny trousers. I did notice, however, that he was wearing shoes that looked like they'd been trampled on and dragged through a mud field, which probably should have prepared me for what I was about to face at the club. We were shepherded to the club through cold streets of Durham by Sunil and some other third-years. Rooney had already attracted a small crowd of friends, if you could call them that, and I hovered towards the back of her group, apprehensive. Everyone seemed so excited. Nobody else seemed nervous. Most people my age had been to clubs by now. Most people I'd known in year 13 had frequented the club in our nearest town, which, from what I'd heard, was a sticky, terrifying hellhole of regrets. But I was the one regretting not having gone with them now. This was just another example of something I had utterly failed to experience during my teenage life. The entrance was down an alleyway, and it was free to get in before 11 p.m. They didn't need IDs, as we were all wearing freshers' wristbands. Inside, it was as if someone had designed me my own personal hell. A tight-packed crowd, sticky floors, and music so loud it took Rooney repeating herself 3 times before I realized she was asking me if I wanted to go to the bar. I listened to what she'd ordered so I know what to ask for. Vodka and lemonade. Then there was chatting and more chatting and more chatting, or shouting actually. Most people wanted to talk about what are you studying and where are you from and how are you finding it all. I started repeating sentences word for word to multiple people, like a robot. God, I just wanted to make a friend. And then there was dancing. I started to notice just how many of the songs were about romance or sex. How had I never noticed this before? Like almost all songs ever written are about romance or sex. And it felt like they were taunting me. Rooney tried to get me to dance with her, just in a casual and funny way, and I tried. I swear I tried, but she gave up quickly and found someone else. I bobbed along the side of various people I'd had conversations with. I was having fun. I was not having fun. It was nearing 11 o'clock when I messaged Pip, mostly because I wanted someone else to talk to without having to shout. Georgia War. Hey, how are you this evening? Felipa Quintana. Everything is absolutely fine. Why do you ask? I may have smashed a wine glass. Georgia War. Pip. Felipa Quintana. Let me live. Georgia War. How come you're drinking? Felipa Quintana. Because I am the master of my own fate and I live for chaos. Jake. Just kidding. Our corridor is having a pizza and alcohol night. By the way, I think I left my jacket in your room last night. Georgia War. Oh no. I'll bring it when I visit you. Don't worry. Who are you texting? Rooney shouted in my ear. Pip. I shouted back. What's she saying? I showed Rooney the message about Pip's smashed glass. Rooney grinned at it and then laughed. I like her. She's so funny. And then she went back to dancing. Georgia War. Anyway, guess where I am? Felipa Quintana. OMG, where? Georgia War. A club. Felipa Quintana. Are you joking? I never thought I would see this day. Baby's first club. Wait, was this Rooney's idea? Is she peer pressuring you? Georgia War. No, I wanted to go, haha. Felipa Quintana. Okay, well, be safe. Don't do drugs. Watch out for nasty men. I hung in there, bobbing until Rooney wanted to get some fresh air. Well, as much fresh air as you could get in the smoking area out the back of the club. We leaned against the brick wall of the building. I shivered, but Rooney seemed fine. So, she asked, what's your official clubbing verdict? I made a face. I couldn't help it. She threw her head back against the wall and laughed. At least you're honest about it, she said. A lot of people hate it and still go anyway. I guess. I sipped my drink. I just wanted to try it. I wanted to be a part of the uni experience, you know? She said, girls' clubs are an important staple of university experience, yes. I couldn't tell whether she was being sarcastic. I was a little drunk, to be fair. I want to meet people and do normal things, I said, throwing back the last of my drink. I didn't even like it that much, but everyone was drinking and I had to look weird if I wasn't, wouldn't I? I don't have a great track record of doing that very well. Don't you? Nope, I hardly have any friends. I've always had hardly any friends. Rooney's smile dropped. Oh, I've never even had a boyfriend or kissed anyone. The words just came out on before I could stop them. I immediately cringed at myself. Shit. That was the thing I wasn't supposed to tell anyone anymore. That was the thing people had made fun of me for. Rooney's eyebrows raised. Wow, really? She wasn't being sarcastic. That was pure, genuine shock. I don't know why I was surprised. People's reactions during Truth or Dare on prom night must have been how everyone felt. But it really got to me in that moment. The weird looks, the people would suddenly see me as a child, as immature. The movies where the main characters freaked out about being virgins at the age of 16. Really, I said. Do you feel bad about it? I shrugged. Yeah. And you want to change it, now that you're at uni? Ideally, yes. Okay, good. She turned so she was facing me, leaning against the wall with one shoulder. I think I can help. Okay. I want you to go in there and find one person you think is hot, or a few. More chance of this working. I already absolutely hated this idea. Oh. Try and get their name, or at least memorize what they look like, and then I'll help you get with them. I did not like this game. I did not like this at all. Survival mode was kicking in throughout my body. I wanted to run. Oh, I repeated. Trust me. She grinned. I know a lot about relationships. What did that mean? Okay, I said. So I just pick a person and you'll set us up? Yes, sounds good. Yeah. If the university experience was all about bad decisions, at least I was doing something right. I felt a bit like David Attenborough. I circled the club on my own, leaving Rooney at the bar, focusing on the guys first. There were a lot of hoodies, sweat patches on t-shirts. A lot of them had the same hairstyle, short sides, longer on top. I kept looking. Surely I'd find someone I fancied. Eventually, the club was packed. There had to be a good couple of hundred people crammed into this room alone. And yet I found no one. There were guys who were objectively attracted, of course, by modern day media standards. There were guys who clearly worked out a lot. There were guys who had fun hair or good fashion or a nice smile. But I wasn't attracted to any of them. I didn't feel any sort of desire. When I tried to picture standing close to them, kissing them, touching them, it grimaced. Disgusting, disgusting, disgusting. I decided to change tactics and look at the girls instead. Girls are all pretty, to be honest, and they have much more variety in appearance. But on a basic physical level, did I feel attraction? No. Lots of people had started hooking up already, kissing each other under the flashing lights and the love songs playing louder than the voices in our heads. It was a little gross, but it had an element of danger that made it beautiful. Kissing a stranger you'd never see again, kissing someone whose name you didn't even know, just to feel a little high in that moment. Just to feel the warmth of someone's skin on yours. Just for a while to feel purely alive. God, I wished I could do that. But the idea of trying to get with any of these people, no matter their gender, was honestly unnerving. It made me feel itchy, shivery maybe. It filled my stomach with a weird, horrible dread, and a warning sign went off in my brain. It felt like my antibodies were fighting it off. What was I going to say to Rooney? Out of hundreds of students, I couldn't find anyone I thought was hot. Sorry. Maybe she should just choose someone for me. God, that would be so much easier. It would be so much easier if I had someone to just tell me what to do and who to be and how to act and what love actually was. I abandoned my search. Tonight, I would remain kissless, romanceless, and that was fine, right? That was fine. I didn't know whether I'd wanted it or whether I hadn't. Honestly, it might have been a little bit of both, just like with Tommy, wanting and not wanting at the same time. It wasn't until an hour later that I spotted Rooney again through the blurry, flashing mass of bodies. She was in the middle of the dance floor making out with a tall guy wearing ripped, skinny jeans. His arms were around her waist. One of her hands was on his face. It was a picture of passion, movie, romance, desire. How? How could a person reach that point in the space of an hour? How could she do in one single night what I was unable to force myself to do my whole entire teenage life? I hated her. I wanted to be her. I hated myself. It all hit me then, suddenly. The music was so loud, I felt like my vision was blurring. I shoved through people to get to the edge of the room, only to find myself pressed up against the wall, which was wet with condensation. I looked wildly around for the door, then started barging my way towards it, and out in the chilly, empty October air. I breathed. I wasn't going to cry. 3 of the John's third years were having a conversation in the smoking area, leaning against the wall, including, to my surprise, Sunil. He was my college parent. I knew he'd help me. I could ask him to walk me back, but as I stepped forward, I felt embarrassed. I was an absolute failure, a child. Sunil turned, glanced at me curiously, and I willed him to ask me if I wanted to go back to the college and whether I wanted him to walk back with me. But he didn't say anything, so I just left. After a couple of hours in the noisy club, the high street silence felt like it was echoing around me. I could barely remember the way back to college because I had been so stressed on the way here that I hadn't been paying attention to where we'd been walking. But thankfully, I found myself on the cobbled path and walking back up the hill, past the castle, then the cathedral, and then I could see the stone steps of St. John's College. "There's something wrong with you," I said under my breath. Then I shook my head, trying to get the thought out. That was just a bad thought. There was nothing wrong with me. This was just who I was. Stop thinking about it. Stop thinking about any of it. I could message Pip, and what would I even tell her? That I was terrible at clubbing, that I could have tried to kiss someone but decided not to, that I was utterly failing at my new start? Pathetic. There was nothing to even tell her. I could talk about it with Jason because he'd probably just tell me I was being silly, because I was. I knew this whole thing was ridiculous. I just walked. I kept my head down. I didn't even know what was wrong. Everything. Myself. I didn't know. How come everyone else could function and I couldn't? How could everyone live properly yet I had some sort of error in my programming? I thought about all the people I'd met in the past few days. Hundreds of people my age, all genders, appearances, personalities. I couldn't think of a single one I was attracted to. I opened the door to college so loudly that the man in the little office gave me a stern look. I suppose he thought I was a drunk fresher. God, I wished I was. I looked down at my dress, the one Mum had seen in River Island, and said, "Oh, isn't that perfect?" And I'd agreed, and she'd bought it for me, so I could look nice and feel nice during Freshers' Week. I started to well up. God, not yet, please not yet. My room was empty. Of course it was. Rooney was out there living her life and having experiences. I grabbed my wash bags and pajamas, went straight to the bathroom, got in the shower, and had a cry.